All right, guys, we're here. Episode 4 of season 3. Finally, 5 for talking. That's a 5 for talking. 5 minutes for talking in the sin bin. I'm here with Bargo, Jackie Scoons down in the base, and my boy Caps right over here. You know him. He likes Edmonton. No one knows why. All right, Mark Messier sucks. Let's go.
All right. Okay, guys. So obviously you heard in the news, Matthew has COVID-19. What do you guys think?
Well, I don't know what is there to think. It sucks. That's what it does. If
Go ahead.
when everyone
That's
else,
what it is. You give a
yeah,
young kid 11 million, he's gonna go out, even if he has to stay home.
right? But it's a situation we're seeing that it's not really even about that. It's that one guy maybe has it and giving it to everybody. We saw Philadelphia Phillies, the Clemson football team. They're saying there's multiple basketball teams that are unnamed at the moment. Who else was it? Tampa Bay.
The whole organization, Campo Bay has
the
it.
whole staff apparently has it, and there's like 3 players. There's 4 unnamed players right now that have it. At the beginning, I was like, okay, this is a benefit for the Leafs. If they can't use their stars when they come back, that's good. But now without Matthews, I'm super worried. But I also, what can you do?
When's it expected to start back?
July 20th,
31st, something like that.
something like that.
He'll be good. 2 weeks of quarantine, he'll be back in action.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
guys. So like,
Right.
you guys are Gary Bettman. Do you guys still go ahead with the season, even though with all the risks and everything? Do you guys still do it, or do you hold off on it for a bit?
Can I go first?
Yeah, go for it.
2 questions. I didn't really catch that fully. Is this me or if I'm Gary Bettman?
Either or.
If I'm Gary Bettman, I'm cautious right now. I don't know what I do. I'm getting with a lot of people. I'm getting second, third, fourth, fifth, 27th opinions to see what's going to happen before this happens. If it's me, I don't care. Play hockey. I want hockey. Play all the sports. Bring all the sports. I just want sports. But it's a business.
I'm the same way. Measures have to be taken while these players are not there to make sure that they're doing the right thing while they're not signed in the league or playing in the league.
Okay. My other question is that now that the season is probably going to start up around July 31st, I'm assuming the playoffs are going to probably take maybe a month and a half, 2 months maybe. And they're saying that they're going to start up the season around December. Do you guys feel that's too soon, or is that enough time to heal up, to get a camp going? I mean, Bargos, you have a little more experience with playing hockey. So do you think that's enough time to transition from one season to another?
If they, it depends how they do the season. If they can give the season with a lot of gaps, not so much road trips, and these players can rest in the regular season, it's fine. They're young athletes, and they're bred for this. They're trained for this. So I think they'll be okay. I'm not seeing it as that big of an issue if they started sooner.
For me, I kind of want to spin off that because I think what he said is right. I have 2 things. One, maybe with the older guys or your core star players, if you know your team's going to the playoffs already, or even if they're not, but you need to give your guys a rest, just rest players. Make it so there's no penalization for resting your players, your star players, right? Because you're going to have to. I think maybe you shorten the season to not a lot, to 70 games instead of 82. And you, I don't know if it's going to be a big deal going off what you're saying about the training camps, because you're going to have just come out of the playoffs. The playoffs are going to end in the beginning of September, right? The playoffs are going to end at the beginning of September. You're going to be, a month between? You might not even need training camps. Obviously you're going to have it, but it's not like we're a normal summer and you have 3-4 months off, right? You're only going to be off for a month and a half, and then the season's going to start again.
The only concern to me would be players that require surgery or proper healing. They wouldn't get that time, but make the sacrifice, and they'll have to miss games.
Well, let's say you require healing, and obviously this is not me saying that, trying to look light at injuries or be like you're a bitch or something like that. But if you play through your injury now, Okay, your team goes to the semifinals, the finals, even wins a cup. Isn't that worth it to sit out most of the next season to gain that? Isn't that what your goal is, to win a cup? I'd be willing to miss half of the next season if my team wins the cup right now.
Yeah, if you're a team that's going to win the cups too, even when you go into regular season, without you, they can probably hold their own and
That's what I
still
mean.
be in the playoff slot.
If you're a team like Tampa Bay, you're going to be okay if Palat misses half a season, or a team like Nashville if Forsberg misses half a season. You know what I mean? You're probably still going to make the playoffs. You have to look at it like that. But I'm not trying to look light on injuries. Like, I understand, right?
I totally agree with you guys on everything you said up to this point. I'm glad hockey's back. I'm glad we get a chance to see sports on TV, cheer for something. I'm just a little worried that with everything that's going on is there isn't enough preparation for the players to get game ready. I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried that they might get injured, and because of that, when it transitions into next year, it just feels like players still might get injured and might be in that same sort of predicament as they
Well, I'm
are.
not worried about that when the season starts. I'm worried about that now because playoff hockey is a different type of sport. It's a different beast.
Completely
And
different.
these guys are going to have to come back in at 110% effort. Whereas you start the regular season at the beginning, you can be lackadaisical and cruise your way through the season. Right now, if you're not moving, you're not winning.
I 100% agree, because if you watch a lot of the sports talk shows, Dan Patrick, for example, like I can't even think of them right now, but the American ones where they focus very little on hockey, you get very, very little hockey. All of those shows for the last 2 years, and you know this, Bargo, because you listen to it too, not the Canadian shows, the American ones, are saying that now playoff hockey might be the most exciting sport in the world. It's so unpredictable. It's not like any other playoff sport where you kind of know which teams are going to go, like basketball or football. It's 7-game series. It's not like football's intense, don't get me wrong, but it's one game. You're talking 7 games, a game every other night of that constant beating, constant skating, practice in between. Playoff hockey is getting big. Maybe hockey in general isn't, but worldwide, playoff hockey is gaining a lot, and it's because it's a whole different game. It's not the same as regular season. It's a completely different sport. It's anything fucking goes. Excuse my language.
They had a lot of time off now, and now going into the playoffs and having to be that player is how people are going to get injured, pushing themselves to that extent when they haven't been training, haven't been practicing.
And
Yeah, you've had a few skate arounds, but skate arounds aren't really a workout or anything like that. You shoot a few pucks, make a few plays, run a little drill, and that's it.
I agree and disagree with that, because I don't know fully if it's going to cause injuries, but it could, right? So I don't really disagree, to be honest. Maybe I shouldn't have said disagree, but I agree with what you're saying also. And I want to take that back to Nick's other thing that he said. Maybe the space between the season now and the next season is small, and we're saying like this, that, and the other thing, but don't forget, they just had a 3-month gap. This was their off season.
That's what I'm saying. That's the concern now, right? These guys that should have been healing up, you don't know your time frame, but they could have done a 3-month healing process.
But think of the benefits for teams like the Leafs. Didn't have Muzzin and stuff, Riley, but you might get them back. Like, I don't know if you're going to get Riley, but you know what I'm saying, right? There was teams that might not have had their best player for the entire playoff run, and now they're going to have those guys back.
Yeah, what scares me about that is the cap. Because with those guys in the lineup, we're at like 90 million.
No, we got to do what we got to do. We got to win. All right.
All right, moving on.
Move it on.
I'm glad that you guys are carrying the conversation. My throat's actually not.
Nah, Nick's a little
killing me.
Got a little Kathy sicky.
All right, Seattle's going to be coming into the league in a couple of years. Obviously, they have a GM right now, and obviously they're going to be looking for a coach very, very soon. Who do you guys see as a potential candidate for the Seattle team? And I'm already thinking that's going to be Babcock.
Okay, so go off of it then. Go then. You
my
have your
opinion. I don't know the free agency for coaches. I haven't really looked into it that deeply. And the Leafs are in need of a coach. So Babcock going to Seattle, why not?
You ready for mine? I prepared.
Go for it.
Okay, well, I say the best option here, especially for a starting out franchise that needs to learn how to meld together, Bruce Boudreau. He has a winning pedigree. He doesn't have any cups, okay? But I have stats here for you. His career average over all of his seasons of being a coach, I believe it's 14 seasons. And this includes missing games, because apparently in your coaching record, if you're not present, it doesn't count as a game played as a coach, okay? So his average record is 40, 21, and 8 with an average of 90 points a season, which means when he's not there, they're still getting more points. That's almost guaranteed that he can coach a team to the playoffs, given the team might be better than the coach that he had. But he had Washington through the bad years when Ovechkin had nobody really. He did have a good Ducks team, and he does have a decent Minnesota team now. He has a 47% winning record in the playoffs, which is not great, but that's still good enough that if the team is solid, I don't even think they'll make the playoffs because they don't have the perks that Vegas had. He won a Jack Adams for Coach of the Year. He's a great player coach. Okay, he's a player that's a coach that's going to be player friendly and management friendly. He works good on both sides. His system is always conscious, and he adapts very well. So what I mean by that is he constantly changes his system to move with the flow of the game. He's not like a Babcock where he kept trying to force a system that doesn't work anymore. Boudreau will adapt. If he's in the middle of a game and he sees this team is just run and gun, he's going to be like, go out there and bang it out with them because they don't want to play that. And I see that in him. And you might be like, how do you know that? Well, I watch a lot of hockey. But I think he's the best choice because Babcock has proven with all the people that came forward that he's not the coach you want, especially on a young team that's just starting out. None of these players have played together. Bruce Boudreau for president.
I'm going to go with Babcock because of the fact that he's won a couple Stanley Cups. And secondly, I know for the fact that the story came out, what he did with some of the young players. But I believe that here's a chance for him to redeem himself and to sort of grow a team around him that he's able to coach and sort of get back into the good graces of the NHL. So that's my choice.
Okay, so wait. Going off how Bargo had less of an argument than both of us, but we both made an argument for two coaches. Now pick one. You're Seattle, Bargo. Pick the coach.
Like you're talking about win percentage. Babcock's win percentage is exceptional too.
Exactly, but
playoffs and all. And you know what? He might be the guy that can whip everybody into shape, even with his antics of being ignorant and treating players like shit. So, I'd go with Boudreau, based off your evidence and information was very.
I don't think it's a permanent fix or who you want forever. But as a team coming in, at least for the first 2 years, you need a coach to slowly bring you along to learn how to win. You don't need then you bring in a beater upper. Okay, Nick, you want to move this?
Sign him if that's how you feel.
Yeah. Well, the Leafs are not going to do that because they're idiots.
All right, moving on. A story came out recently about Ray Croft's stay in Toronto. As you all know, that Tuukka Rask's rights were traded to Boston to bring in Ray Croft. He was a young player at the time. He feels as though that the pressure of playing in Toronto kind of got to him, and sort of reports have been coming out that he was sort of on the brink of depression. What do you guys think of the fact that Toronto's market, and do you believe the fact that it is a lot of pressure to play here in Toronto? Because the only reason why I'm asking is because when Lou Lamoriello came here, he already told the media and he already established the fact that this team wasn't going to make the playoffs for a couple of years. And do you think, and because of that, the media kind of sort of stood back and gave him a chance. My question to you guys, do you guys believe the hype? Do you guys believe the fact that it is a lot of pressure to play in Toronto?
100%. We know that. It's not even a conversation. We 100% know that. Toronto hockey and Montreal hockey is comparable to the way all sports are in Boston, New York, those cities where they don't accept losing. They're big on sports, but I wouldn't say all Toronto, Montreal sports. I'm just saying only our hockey teams are like the way they treat all their teams. If you come out up front and say, listen, it's going to be rough, we understood and we went with it. That's what you want. You don't want to just end up being rough and they're telling you, don't worry, we're going to sign Phil Kessel. No, that's not what we want. Do I care that happened? No, because you should have known that. Regardless of what happened, and I don't mean this to be like bullying or negative to him, he wasn't that good of a goalie, straight up. He was never, maybe he was a starting goalie on a not that great team, but he was never going to be better than that.
But that's where I think it stems from, because then you compare him to the guy that got picked, Tuukka Rask, and now you're saying Toronto media is probably like, oh, we could have had Rask.
Yeah, and look how good Rask does. Boston media is probably just as bad in for all sports.
Do you guys think that Rask would have fared better?
Yeah,
in this market.
If we had Rask, we would have. Okay, we had a lot of stinker years, so I can't say anything. But if you had Rask in net right now in his prime, the Leafs are a contender. Not that Anderson's bad, but those 2-3 years of prime Rask was something else.
But my other question is, do you think that Rask would have been able to handle the pressure?
Yeah, because he can back it up.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Look at Anderson. Anderson handles the pressure by not being in the media all the time. Look at the guys who take the media. There's certain players that they put out there to block the media so that the players who can't handle it leave. Anderson's a quick in and out guy in the conference room. He doesn't bullshit around. Next question.
Okay. Obviously, there's a few defensemen that are going to be on the market this summer. Anybody that comes to mind that you think that you can bring in to help out this Leafs team?
So I checked out trading blocks. You got Dumba, Restalainen, and the guy in Montreal. I'm probably going to butcher his name. Petrie or Petrie?
Yeah, Petrie.
Big boy.
Jeff Petrie.
They're $5 to $6 mil each. This year, with contracts ending, the Leafs are going to lose $12 mil off the books, and that's including a player who's on our we're retaining his salary, Leonard. His 1.1 or 1.2 mil comes off this year as well. So I mean, can you spend some money and work a trade out with some of these guys? Yeah, and you do have pieces to make a trade like that. Like, it's not going to take much to get Petrie.
I'm not opposed to doing what you're saying, but I'm saying I'd rather go the other route. You let the people go that are going, and you bring in free agents. So I have 3 guys.
The market, with them, I'm curious to hear the market for free agents.
Okay, so there's a lot. There's big names, but I'm not going big names. I think the Leafs should go the route of signing one, or not even one, sign 2 lower contract guys in the $3 to $4 million range that are going to come in and play defense and only defense. So I have Tanev, 30 years old, good defender. I have Spisa, 30 years old, good defender. They're going to come at a cheap price, and I'd rather have depth than just one star player. And then the last guy I have is Schultz, because Schultz can play both ends and he can put up points. And I'd rather take a guy for under $5 million, even if it's a 1-year contract, and you bring in 2 of these guys, and then you let those young guys play backup. The young guys are not ready. I don't care. None of them are ready.
Lindgren. Yeah, there's 2 of them. Their names are like the same.
There's Lindgren and Sandin.
No, and then there's Lindgren.
Yeah, you're thinking of a forward guy.
No, they're defense.
Is he Lindgren?
Yeah, check the Marlies roster.
Well, we'll check it later. We got to keep this thing moving. We're running out of time.
One of them was the only one who was +5 in his plus-minus on the Marlies, and he's not a big name.
Bring me in guys that have played for 10 years that play defense as their first thing.
What scares me about what you're saying, though, is you're going to bring in schlumps.
Yeah, but you don't have to give them big, long contracts. They're 30. You sign them for a 2-year deal, $8 million total for your 2 years, not for a season. $4 million a season, $8 million.
I'm telling you to spend another mil, and you're telling me no.
No, you're telling me to spend $6.5 million. That's what you said.
5.5 to 6 mil.
No, I don't want that. Save that $1 million.
For what?
Because I bring in one guy that's going to do the same job as one of those guys, and I can have two of them.
The salary cap is averaged right now. It's projected at 84 to 88 million. That's an increase of like
Go
5
frick
mil.
yourself.
That's an increase of 5 mil. If it just goes to 84 million.
Like I said, I don't want to do a trade. I'm not here to do trades. If we do trades, it's John Tavares, and I'm getting Drew Doughty. So if you're going to sign big, last thing for me, if you're going to sign big, get Pietrangelo. Just get Pietrangelo. Don't play around signing one guy for $6 million. Get a guy, sign him for 6 years, $90 million. I don't care. Just sign him.
Well, if Dustin Byfuglien comes cheap, would you sign him?
No. Too much baggage. Too many issues.
I would love to get Pietrangelo in here since he's a Stanley Cup winner and he knows what it takes to win, especially from a team that did horribly up until January of last year, and then all of a sudden just turned it around, was able to win the Stanley Cup.
I picked them to win the cup that year, and remember how bad they were doing? That was our only episode that we filmed, and they did so bad to open the season, and then they ended up winning the cup. So
did you make a bet with Vegas?
No, I should have. I'm an idiot. But quick spin-off on what you said. If he comes, make this quick, okay? If he comes to Toronto, do you give him the seat?
Who?
Pietrangelo.
No.
You also go frick yourself.
Why would I do that?
What I want to see is Kerfoot traded. What I want to see is Kerfoot get traded and sign Brassard for 1.2 mil.
I don't want that.
I do.
I'd rather have Kerfoot. Kerfoot has an upside. Brassard is tanking right now.
Brassard has more points than Kerfoot in this season alone. Yeah, I checked it.
Nick, you want to jump into my question?
How much time we got left?
Probably like 15, 12.
Okay. Your question was what? The winger question?
No. I asked you guys to choose three good goal scorers that are underrated or overlooked that people have forgotten about. 2 from anywhere, 1 that's a Leaf. And this is all time. It doesn't have to be right now. Do you want me to give you my list to give you an example?
Well, go for it. I'll give you my examples. I'm not kind of sold on my examples because that's a pretty tough question. But yeah, go for it.
Okay, well, I wrote it down. So my first choice is Dino Ciccarelli.
Oh, you did all time. Okay.
Yeah, I did all time. So he has 608 goals. He almost has a point per game average, and he's tough as nails. He has 250 goal seasons, and it's not that nobody knows about him. I feel like he's gone forgotten. He's the quintessential like grinding forward. Him and like Brendamore, and those are like grinders that can score. Okay, so that's my first one. My second one, Peter Bondra. 14, 20-plus goal seasons out of 16 years. Oh, we lost Bargo.
Snap.
Now, we'll see if we can get him back.
Okay.
So 14, 20-plus goal seasons out of 16 years. 930-plus and 250 goal seasons. 503 total goals. He got injured something like an average of 15 to 18 games per season over 16 years. That's over 200 games. So he missed out a lot in his prime. And I think he gets overlooked too because a lot of the time he was on a not so great Capitals team. Bargo's almost back in here.
Okay.
So you're cutting out there, bud. Do we got him? All right, I'll go into my Leaf player.
Okay.
So he didn't play on the Leafs long. He had 118 goals and 432 total goals. I'm talking about Vincent Damphousse.
Mm-hmm.
He had an amazing ability to score goals, but he played a completely different style of hockey. He was more of a playmaker and a move the puck around type of guy, but he could have scored a lot more goals. There you go. He's back. He could have scored a lot more goals if he stayed in. So, my guys were Ciccarelli, Bondra, and Damphousse. And I'm throwing one bonus guy in just for gigs, Ziggy Palffy. 329 goals in 684 games. He had over a point per game average. he was one of the most dynamic, most fast, best stick handling players, and he had an amazing shot, but he just could not stay healthy. Like, he was injured so much that it's crazy. And those are my choices.
Yeah, my choices were more with the current league.
Yeah, that's fine.
But then when you talked about Dino Ciccarelli, one person came up from the past that came to mind. So I'll talk about the person from the past first. When we're talking about elite goal scorers, I don't think this guy gets enough recognition, and he's one of the few that are in the 700 club, and that's Mike Gardner.
I was thinking that too.
And I thought I just remember his time in the Leafs, one of the fastest skaters I've ever seen. But I believe he was like really underrated in terms of his goal scoring.
The mustachioed one.
Yeah, but in terms of players in today's league, I really like Barkov from Florida. I mean, let's face the facts. Like, there's not a lot of elite stars from that team, but Barkov seems to be the one to stand out the most.
I think he's one of the best players in the NHL.
Yeah, and I don't think he gets enough credit with what he's doing in Florida. Other than that, I really couldn't think of any. JVR came to mind, and the only reason why he comes to mind is that when he's healthy, with his skills, he can actually change the momentum of the game.
I agree.
And he's got a lot of skill to back up what he can do. And he was on a pretty good line with Kessel and Bozak.
He's doing well now in Philadelphia.
But he's doing very, very well right now with the Philadelphia Flyers. Those are my picks.
He was meant to be an elite second line scorer, not what the Leafs made him. That was the problem. Bargo, you got any?
Yeah, my list is I can't even view it. If I view it, I get cut out. I'm gonna wing it. So I'm gonna say Mike Bossy. Healthy, he could be one of the top 3 to 5 goal scorers all time.
In my opinion, he's number 1.
Yeah, and then you got Mario Lemieux. Healthy, he's higher than Wayne Gretzky, I think, in goals.
And I like your choices because they're not really underrated. But when people just look quickly back at their careers, they don't remember Mike Bossy. A lot of people nowadays.
For goal. They don't remember them for that, yeah.
Lemieux, they don't remember for goals, but people just don't remember Mike Bossy in general. Like, ask one of these guys about Bossy, they don't know.
Yeah.
That's
the
my
Leafs,
top 3. Ovechkin, Bossy, and Lemieux are my top 3.
Goals. For Leafs, I'm going to go Wendell Clark.
Yeah.
260 goals, 600 games played. And if you look at the list of all-time Leafs goals scorers and leaders, if he played 900 games, he would be top 3 all-time. But he only played 6.
His thing was, this is my thing with him, and I always hate on him just because Nick likes him. It's not that he couldn't score goals. It's that he couldn't sustain the level of goal scoring that he was at.
Because he's a different type of player, though. He wasn't there for that. But to still put up 260 and be in the top 10 now and only play 600 games.
I think your thing is really smart because we're doing a podcast that a lot of Leaf fans are going to watch and whatnot. To Leaf fans, Wendell Clark is not forgotten or underrated. But to the rest of the world, I 100%, that was perfect. That was such a good one. And
but like even in a Leaf fan, you're not remembering Wendell for his goals. You're remembering him for his iron fist.
I agree. And Nick, I recently did a post about Mike Gardner on the 5 for Talking Instagram, and yeah, that's why it was a good choice. I really think he gets overlooked a lot. He's one of the most skilled players ever.
Yeah, what does he have? Like 700 and something goals?
708. He's like
708 or 706.
708, really?
Yep, 708.
He's like 5 goals ahead of Ovechkin right now.
Yeah. I think after hearing Bargo talk, I'm just going to trade everybody in for Wendell Clark, and that's my pick.
And after hearing Bargo talk, I'm going to trade everybody in for Mike Bossy. You want to give us one thing to wrap it up with? Anybody?
That's pretty much all I had written down, actually.
I think we went through everything.
We did.
Bargo, you gotta have a question next time, all right?
I got one for you that you guys didn't ask. Oh, sorry. No, it was asked. My bad. Yeah.
You want to throw out a quick one? A quick question to help get to know the crew. Ask a question of like, what's our favorite or who's our whatever.
Who, me?
Okay, here, I'm going to ask it then. Holy, you guys are just out here.
I know what you're talking
This is a
about.
two-parter.
I'm talking to the fans? What are you
Okay.
talking to?
Two-parter. One, what was your favorite team other than the Leafs as a kid? And who's your favorite team other than the Leafs now?
Colorado was in the 90s was
Good
probably
choice.
my second favorite. What was the other question?
Now,
Now? Edmonton.
I'm going to guess Bargo's is Detroit when he was a kid. Yeah, see, that was a good guess. What about now?
I've been focused too much on the Leafs, like to have a second favorite right now. And Detroit's been slumping for like the last like 3-4 years, so I like kind of fell off that bandwagon. That's a tough one.
All right, I'll just go. As a kid, my favorite team was Minnesota North Stars. I probably said this in a previous podcast, more than the Leafs, that my dad used to get mad at me because my favorite team was the Minnesota North Stars. And now I would say Tampa Bay probably, but that's because we kind of go back and forth between Florida all the time, and Tampa Bay's just kind of become attached to me. So I just have a kind of thing. I wouldn't say I super back them or anything, but if you were like, who else do you like other than the Leafs? Probably Tampa Bay.
Good choice.
All right. So we're gravy
Like when it
boats,
comes to
though?
other teams, for me, I just follow them all.
Yeah,
I don't
I get
focus
it.
on one.
What about? Okay, so Nick's, yours would be
Because
Edmonton.
we're just fans of hockey. That's why.
Yours is
Fans of the
Edmonton.
club.
This is the last thing, and then I'm wrapping it up. Nick's is Edmonton, obviously. What's your second favorite Canadian team if you had to pick of all time? Does it have to be now or then, just period?
Me?
If the Leafs didn't exist, because mine would be Ottawa, and I know you guys hate that, but I don't like the West Coast team. Vancouver's my top two most hated teams. Vancouver, Detroit.
Either Ottawa or Montreal, like
Yeah, that's
one
mine.
or the other.
That's mine too.
If
yeah.
it had to be, because they're close and you could actually go there and watch a game.
Yeah, I agree. And Winnipeg disappeared, so I can't really say Winnipeg.
It would really be hard for me to like Montreal, just for the fact that growing up, a lot of friends were Montreal fans and Leaf fans, and we're always.
I'm the same way,
it.
but if the Leafs didn't exist, you wouldn't have that rivalry.
He's correct on that. Okay, well, anyways, let's wrap this up.
Wrap it up on that freeze frame right there.
I wouldn't even answer that question.
Yeah, he would. Okay.
I don't like any of the teams, so
Just keep it down. This is the end of the episode. Episode 3, 5 for talking. Caps, tell them what they can do.
Subscribe.
All right, peace out.